Hi again, everybody. We're out at Wings West Old Burdick's Barn Grill for our final Bronco Coaches show of the season, and we've got some great guests on tap for tonight's final show. But we're going to start it out with football. Head coach Lance Taylor's here. He's getting ready for his third season coaching the Bronco football team, and just finished up spring practice. How'd it go?
Yeah, Robin, thanks for having me. Great to see you. We had a great spring ball showcase and really excited. But first, let me just say congratulations to Coach First and our hockey team. I mean, how exciting was that? The season that they had to finish it off and win the national championship. I think we were all so proud of what they did. And Coach First is one of the best to do it, and a great mentor, and really happy for those guys. So congratulations. And yeah, we're trying to follow it up with some championships of our own.
Well, they had a pretty good recipe. You get good players that love to play and love to be around each other and support each other and come to work every day with an attitude of winning, and that's what it takes. And Bronco football can do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the culture and mindset that we're trying to build. I mean, as I talked to Coach First, even early in this season, he just mentioned how special this group of players were. Their bond, their buy-in and belief, and that showed up as they played. I mean, you know, the belief that they had in each other, the belief that they had in their coaches, the belief that they were going to win no matter what the score was, whether we were down, whether we were up. They believed, and that was evident. And, you know, it's one thing to say you believe, but it's another to exemplify it, you know, under hard circumstances. And that's where I'm really excited about our football team. I think we took a huge step in spring football, and even in our winter conditioning and training program. Just really excited about what we're doing and what we're building. The traits that we talk about all the time, effort, attitude, toughness, and discipline, continue to show up. And that's where I think we took a huge step as a football team, just in maturity. And we got a lot of new faces. I got 24 new transfer signees there that went through spring ball with us. We've got a new defensive staff, some new staff members, and so it really was great energy. I was proud of the growth that we accomplished, but still a lot of work to do.
Yeah, let's get into some of those areas. First, hey, it's NFL draft night, you know. NFL draft weekend in Green Bay, and the Broncos might have some names called here maybe on Saturday. Jake Gideon, you got Bilal Konay, and Addison West. Those three guys, they don't get drafted, they're going to be in somebody's camp.
Yeah, really excited for them. I mean, this is a huge moment. Most of these guys grow up of dreaming playing in the NFL, and that's where I'm really proud of, one, you know, what our players have done on the field to give themselves opportunities to go play at the next level. I mean, Bilal Konay went to the Senior Bowl, did a great job there, went to the Combine, really helped himself in the 40 that he ran. And I think that those opportunities are what makes this place special. I mean, when you talk about coming to a great place with great people, getting a great education, and then being able to reach all of your goals on and off the field, and reach the ultimate goal on the field of hearing your name called on draft night is pretty special. So I'm excited for those guys. Can't wait for their name to be called, them to get an opportunity to play at the next level, and I know that they will maximize their opportunities.
Well, with guys like that moving on the offensive line, that's probably the biggest area of need right now, is plugging some holes up front for the offense.
Yeah, you obviously can't replace a Jake Gideon and Addison West. You know, Cushy, Sherwin, all those guys were great pillars for us, not only great players, but also great leaders and examples for the rest of our locker room. So it's been growing pains here during spring ball, but I'm really excited about where we are from an offensive line standpoint. You know, we've got some new guys, some new faces, some freshmen that have stepped up and really are going to be able to help us. And I tell you what, they really grew together on the field and showed promise.
Got John Hofer back, great offensive lineman. He's going to be in the mix. And Adam Vandervest missed all last year. How's he coming along with that injury? Was he able to compete at all in spring?
So Adam was not fully cleared. He was able to go through Indy and do certain things, but non-contact. He looks really good. He's ahead of schedule right now. And you mentioned it, to get both of those guys back, John Hofer and Adam Vandervest, was huge. They're such great teammates and great leaders, and really set the tempo and mentality for who we want to be in terms of blue collar and gritty up front. And I think that they did a great job. I tell you where I was so proud of you know, Hofer and Vandy is they stepped into leadership roles and really helped not only the offensive line, but really our whole team. And they lead by example. They've really taken that next step of leadership and growing and being more vocal leaders. And even though Vandervest wasn't practicing or fully participating in practice, he was coaching the young guys. He was coaching some of the new transfers and really helping them understand, one, what our standard is and what the expectation is. And so I appreciate their leadership. Excited to have them back.
All right, you're going to have a new starting quarterback, too, and that's a battle that's probably still ongoing, I'm guessing. Brock Lowry's back for his second year. You got Brady Jones, who was a heralded junior college player from California. You got Mark Konechny, who's been around here for a while, and then guy I really like is Mason Reynolds, that freshman. He can really sling it.
Yeah, I was really excited about our quarterback battle and quarterback room. I think all four of those guys really stepped up and stepped in and made some plays all throughout spring. Brock Lowry and Brady Jones, you just mentioned, are the top two guys coming out of spring ball, and it's going to be a great battle as we head into training camp. And really want one of those guys to separate, but I think both of those guys have done a really nice job commanding the offense. Staying on track and being efficient, not turning the ball over, putting it in jeopardy. And so those guys are going to be really good players for us.
Jones, I mean, he had a great career in California junior college. I mean, he's a winner. He's just a flat-out winner, and he can really throw the football, and he can run a little bit, too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at Brady Jones and what he's done in college, he's a winner. He's a great leader. He studies the game. He's really smart. He's got great arm talent, and he's a dual-threat quarterback, so he can hurt you with his legs. And that's where I think him and Brock help bring an added dimension just to our offense this year. And, when you talk about a quarterback that can run or hurt you in the run game, it truly puts the defense in conflict and a bind, and you get to play 11-on-11 football.
Well, when you're breaking in a new quarterback, it's nice to be able to turn around and hand it off to Jalen Buckley, and it's great to see him back in a Bronco uniform.
Yeah, Jalen Buckley looks like a beast right now. I mean, it's really exciting when you look at what he did to transform his body coming off of, off-season surgery and getting back healthy, and then also, making sure that, from a strength and conditioning standpoint, he PR'd in all of his lifts and times, and so he looks really good. He did a great job. Really, that running back room, we got Cole Cabana, Devin Miles, and Trey Hartwell and Lolo. And so it was a deep, talented group that really did a nice job. They took turns making plays, and, Buckley leads that group with his leadership and how he practices every single day.
You got to have a lot of backs. They take a pounding over the season, and it's great to see you've got 3 or 4 guys there that can get the job done, and you're confident. And you got the 2 junior college transfers, and Trey Hartwell, who's I really like Trey. I mean, he got a few runs last season.
Yeah. Again, all those guys took turns making plays. You just mentioned Trey Hartwell. I mean, he did an excellent job. He really came in as a freshman and worked, and he's really grown, put on some great size and speed. So he really had a great spring. Factor into our rotation and give him some carries.
Well, you got Malik Dudon back, but kind of rebuilding that wide receiver room. How about this guy from Georgia Tech, Christian Leary? How'd he look?
Yeah, Christian Leary looks really good. I mean, really excited. The thing that I'm excited about with our wide receiver room is we brought Malik back, who, has played a ton of football for us, made some big plays, but he stepped up into a leadership role. But then bringing in guys like Christian Leary, and some of those other guys that were behind them, Balin Brooks, they did an excellent job. And just the mentality, the work-like mentality in that room is just so different than a lot of times you get in the receiver room, where it's more about me and how many touches am I going to get. Those guys did an excellent job buying in. We've got a new receiver coach, Kyle Perkins, who's done an awesome job with those guys, building great relationships. He's a great teacher. And I think that, his mentality really has rubbed off on the group, and really excited about that group. I think we can be an explosive playmaking group.
Breaking in a new defensive coordinator, and there's quite a bit of rebuilding going on over there on defense. You do have Tate Halleck back. Great to have him back there in the back end, kind of getting everybody lined up.
Yeah, before we move to the defense, I'll just say our tight end group has been really special. We got Blake Bosma back, added a couple of guys, and then Marion Harbowski really worked really hard this offseason, putting on needed weight. A guy who started out at quarterback is going to be a really good player for us at tight end, and I think that shows his selfless team first mentality. Wherever you guys want to play us, I just want to help the team, and really proud of him. And Blake Bosma looked really good. It's great to have him back. He's obviously a leader for us and a weapon. And then you mentioned the defense. Really excited about our direction on defense right now. Chris O'Leary, who I work with at Notre Dame, he just recently came from the Rams. It's just a great energy, and they've set a standard on defense. They talk about the separators on defense, and effort and angles, tackling, getting the ball down, and being violent. All those things showed up in spring, and I think they connected really well with the players. Our whole defensive staff did a really nice job coming in, building great relationships, and then getting those things to show up on the field.
What kind of defense does Coach O'Leary like to run? Anything that you point out?
Yeah, nothing I'd like to talk about right now before
we don't
get
want to
to
share any
game one,
secrets with the with the competition,
But I'll tell you this. His mentality is an attacking style of defense, and he wants to challenge everything. And so you can take that for what it's worth. But I think we're going to be hard nosed. We're going to be gritty on defense, and we're going to be fundamentally sound in the things that matter and win games. And it's great to have a guy like Tate Hallett coming back, a leader for us, a guy who's made a ton of plays. And one of the things that we've done that's exciting with Tate is he's a great boundary safety for us, and just safety in general, but also giving him some position versatility, moving him around in the defense to create more of those havoc plays, whether it's TFLs, sacks, interceptions, PBUs, all of those things. He did a great job, and really excited about the season that he's going to have this year.
D-line, always critical. You've got to have 8, 9 guys up there that you feel confident you can rotate in there.
Yeah, really, really proud of our defensive line group this year. You just mentioned it, really deep group that we're going to be able to keep guys fresh. We have 7 or 8 guys right now that all can play. You got Popeye Williams who's coming back. You got Marcel Tyler who's coming back. You got August Johannesmeyer who's coming back. All 3 of those guys had a great spring, and I'm really excited about some of the guys that we added. Kershawn Fisher on the edge. Rodney McGraw really stepped up. I mean, he's not new to the program, but didn't play a ton for us last year. He really stepped up this spring, and so I think we've got a group of guys that really can create havoc up front.
Going to have a whole new group of linebackers too, I'm guessing, huh?
Yeah, we are. We're going to have a brand new core of linebackers, and Coach Greer Martini is our new linebacker coach. I think he did an excellent job. He played linebacker at Notre Dame, and then in the NFL, he was most recently at Charlotte. He's done a great job with our guys. Just he sees the game from the linebacker perspective and does a great job teaching those guys, one, what their keys are to play fast and free and play downhill, and I think that showed up this spring. And really excited about that group, and those guys who they can be. There's going to be some opportunities there for some young guys to step up and make some big plays and make an impact for our football team.
It's a fun thing about college football. You don't have these 10-year veterans. You got to replace guys every 3 or 4 years, sometimes more often than that. But how about at corner now? That's one of the critical areas, Coach. You lost maybe one of the best ever to play here, Bilal Kone.
Yeah, we just talked about the draft and what Bilal Kone did. He transferred in my first year. When we first got here, he was one of the first commits that we had. And the thing that stood out was his competitiveness and his length. And he really worked himself into a great player and great leader for us. And it's hard replacing those type of guys. But I think, a couple of guys that really stood out during spring football. Josh Franklin did an excellent job. We moved him over. We initially started him, as a true freshman at receiver, and then we moved him to DB. He played some for us last year and was a great special teams player. He's going to be a dynamic player on the outside for us.
He was around the football last year when he got on the field. There he was. around the ball.
He is. He's got a great nose for the football. He's got high football IQ. He understands, football schemes and route progressions, and how to take those things away. And then when the ball's in the air, he finds it. And great players always find the ball, and he's one of those that's going to help us a ton this year. Aaron Wofford did a great job at corner. We've got a bunch of really good guys that we're going to have to fill some spots, but there's going to be some opportunities to make some plays.
And then over on special teams, your place kicker, Palmer Domsky's back. It's good to have Palmer back. Now, he almost scored a touchdown in the season opener last year, then got hurt and missed the rest of the year. But great to have a leg like that ready to go. And then your punter, Ryan Milmore, man, I thought he was dynamite.
Yeah, when you look at our specialist group, I mean, we're returning a bunch of veterans. I mean, you just mentioned Palmer, Ryan Milmore, also RJ Todd. All three of those guys have started a ton of games for us, have played in big moments, have made big critical plays for us. So that's great to return those guys. Palmer looked excellent during spring football. He was automatic, man. I mean, he really has grown and matured. He's a great leader for us, and he does a great job with that group.
All right, the transfer portal is open, and I know you're digging away trying to find Broncos who fit the mold and want to play in Kalamazoo, and they're out there. You just got to find them, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things I'm proud of is our coaching staff did a really nice job going out and identifying our needs, and then identifying the players that fit those needs, but also fit into our culture in the first transfer window. And so, we were able to sign 24 that went through spring ball with us. They were early enrollees in January. And then coming through spring ball, there's a couple of holes that we need to fill and a couple of areas that we're going to target, but really excited about the group that we have and the pieces yet still to add.
All right, we'll keep an eye on the transfer portal to see who the next handful of Broncos are going to be. But let's talk about your schedule now before we wrap it up, Coach. You've got a difficult schedule, and you wouldn't want it any other way. You open up against Michigan State, your home opener against North Texas. That's going to be fun to play them.
We've got an exciting schedule. A lot of people look at it as obstacles, or we can look at it as an opportunity. And I think it's a great opportunity for our football team. And we start out with in-state Michigan State, which is going to be a big-time game, big-time atmosphere for our guys, and really excited about that. And then when you look at, the rest of our non-conference schedule, it is going to be a great test and battle test us as we get into our MAC schedule. We play the last 3 MAC champions, which is great. And, I think for our program to really take the next step, we did a great job in October going 4-0 last year, and then not so much in November, winning those games when they're critical down the stretch. It'll be a great opportunity to see the growth there and win some games there late in November.
Yeah, and you get the Chippewas in here, and on a Saturday this year, that's going to be fun, hosting your rival on a Saturday at Waldo.
Yeah, I mean, when was the last time that you guys played Central Michigan at home on a Saturday?
I don't remember the last time.
It's been a long time, and so we're excited about that. I think all of our fans are excited, and our players are excited. I mean, to play a rivalry game on a Saturday at home in front of the best fans in the MAC, best fans in the country, we're excited about that and ready to get to it. There's a lot of work between now and then. We got summer workouts that'll start up here very soon with summer school, and really excited to continue the growth.
Yeah, you give a plan to each one of these players after spring's over. You kind of meet with each one of them and tell them what they're doing well and what they need to work on.
Yeah, so after spring football, we have exit interviews or post-spring meeting exit interviews. And what we do is meet with every single player, things that they did well, things that they need to improve, and then we create an improvement plan for them. And so they're challenged to work on those things throughout summer. And to me, the best teams that I've been on have really grown from the end of spring ball until training camp starts. And so for our team, we're going to see how mature and or how many leaders we have over the summer when a lot of those things are done with nobody there.
Got to a bowl game last year, now taking that next step. It's probably the most difficult step, but it's the one you're trying to make.
Yeah, absolutely. I've said it from the first day I got hired. Our goals aren't going to change. We want to win, MAC championships and be a championship program. But you have to do those things, and everything that you do, you have to be champions and have a standard of excellence. And those are the things that we've been building over the first 2 years. And so we're going to continue that growth and that climb in year 3.
Finally, you're getting a new playing surface at Waldo Stadium and in the Sealy Center too. That's going to be great.
Yeah, really excited. We're getting new turf put down on the game field and in the indoor, and so our players are really excited about that. I think when you talk about player safety, health and safety, that's going to be a great addition for us, a new surface, and it'll look great too.
Awesome. Well, Lance, thanks for coming out tonight. Continued success. Get in that portal, find some studs, and let's go win some football games.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Robin.
Lance Taylor with us on the Bronco Coaches Show, or Wings West, Old Burdick's Barn Grill, our final show of the season. We're going to come back and talk women's basketball with new head coach Kay Doctor. That's coming up after this timeout. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Burdick's has burgers, not burgers, burgers. All natural, honest to bigness, bona fide, aged steak, beef, burgers. Or chickpea. And Burdick's has beer, not beer, beer. Whether it's winning the big game or winning at life, it all happens right here at Old Burdick's.
Hi, I'm Jim Vandenberg. If you've been driving around, you've noticed empty lots and no new cars. We understand how frustrating this can be. That's why we've done the legwork for you. We're getting in CPO shipments from coast to coast to bring you the best late model vehicles with certified warranties. Don't get taken advantage of with markups on new and used cars. We make sure you get the best value for your car buying dollar. Maple Hill Auto Group, for value like no other.
Robin Hook back with you at Old Burdick's Barn Grill, Wings West, our final Bronco Coaches Show of the season, and here to talk women's basketball with the newest member of the Bronco coaching staff, Kay Doctor. And this lady is a winner, and this program is going to skyrocket in the Mid-American Conference, and I can't wait. Kate, welcome to the Coaches Show. Welcome to Kalamazoo in Western Michigan.
Thank you so much. Couldn't be happier to be here.
Yeah, and you're coming from Detroit Mercy, and that was an absolute dumpster fire, 1-29, and you turned it around pretty quickly.
Yeah, we say that affectionately about the process, but it was a lot of work. But nothing worthwhile comes easy, and we really just bought into the vision for the program and what our culture was going to be. And I knew I had a winning formula, just had to be a little bit patient with it. And I still believe that it works even in this changing college landscape.
Yeah, the winning formula. It's the same everywhere. You get great kids, you coach them up, you win.
Yeah, and you really want kids that are like you, that want to compete on the same level that you do. The old adage is, they'll run through a wall for you. Like, that's great, but I want them to dive on the floor for me. I want them to want to win and make and ones and care about their teammates like I cared about mine. So, that becomes a little bit harder to sift out in the process. But again, if you get the right pieces, we all believe this, great things can happen.
Yeah, and you turned around Loyola too. I think they were 2-28 when you took over and won a lot of games over there.
Yeah, it was much the same. I didn't know what I didn't know as a first-time head coach at 30 years old. And I certainly learned a lot of lessons and thankful that I was able to do it there. But yeah, we went from 2-28 to, I think it was 18-15 or something like that in the last year. Won more games than they'd won in 36 years. So that was, at the time, as old as I was. So definitely learned some lessons there, cut my teeth in the Chicago recruiting landscape, and then was lucky enough to get hired at Detroit and, recruit in a different landscape. So both of those experiences are very valuable as I take over this job.
Kay Doctor with us. She's the new women's basketball coach here in Western Michigan, and you're very familiar with the Mid-American Conference. You know what it takes to win in this league.
Yeah, I was really lucky to be successful at Bowling Green. I think we started a run of 9 straight MAC championships, which is just absolutely unheard of. But we did it the same way that I built every program I've ever been a part of. We did it with players that love to compete, that love the game of basketball, but we're competitors. And, we may not have always seen eye to eye with our head coach and Kurt Miller, but we all wanted the same thing. And, that truthfully is why I became a college basketball coach, because my winning experience is there. Really, I just felt like I wanted other people to experience that. So I've always kept up with the MAC. We have a strong alumni connection at Bowling Green, and the hope is that we can do the same exact thing here and put our own little flair on it,
Yeah, what attracted you to Western Michigan? What made you want to get after this job?
I have always felt that this job is a sleeping giant. And someone said this to me, I think two or 3 days after I took it, and they asked me the same question. I was like, well, why not? Dan's vision and leadership for the entire department. You want to be around winning programs. Obviously, we have how many people can say they have a national championship program in their department? I mean, why not? Why wouldn't you want to be a part of this? And, with the continued investment for all things athletics, but specifically for women's basketball, I just feel like, man, how lucky am I to get the opportunity right now? And I can't wait to take off.
Yeah, and you hit the ground running. You're trying to build a roster now, and it's different than it used to be, right? I mean, you go get some high school kids and you let them grow through the program, and when they're sophomores, they're a little bit better, and when they're juniors, they're better than that, and then when they're seniors. But It's not that way anymore, not in this day and age.
No, we want them to be with us through the entirety of their career, but I just think, as the landscape changes, we have to be a little bit flexible in our methods as well. And, I'm not naive. The goal is to get freshmen, right? And we want them to develop. We want them to be great, because then our program continues to elevate. But we realize that it's difficult to keep good freshmen and good sophomores and good juniors. But, again, with all the resources and the attention being paid to women's basketball here, that's a leg up. A $500 million arena is quite enticing. Not to mention, the sparkling personalities of our coaching staffs.
Absolutely.
We're still going to do our job the exact same way. We want kids that want to get better at basketball, and we want them to be freshmen. If we can get them as sophomores, like we're doing with our newest signee, and let them continue to develop, I just think our leadership doesn't become so cyclical. It doesn't turn over every year, and ultimately, to me, a good mid-major basketball program has consistency.
Well, you've jumped right into the recruiting thing, and you got a young lady to come back home to Kalamazoo from Kalamazoo Central. Mo Wiggins is an absolute superstar, and those are the kind of players that can take you to where you want this program to go.
What a huge signing for us. And, I know Mo's talent on the floor has always spoken for itself, but the caliber of person that she is as a young woman, just top notch. And her parents couldn't be more excited that she gets to finally come home. So shout out to Mom and Dad, because I think you had a really big part in it. But
thanks, Mom and Dad.
Yeah. But we are thrilled, and we want to see a healthy Mo. And she caught the injury bug a little bit in college, and the care that we're going to be able to provide for her here and how we're going to treat her body, we feel very, very confident that she's going to be impactful in the Mid-American Conference, and also in drawing people to come to our games. Everybody wants to see Mo again. I mean, she was such a superstar here in high school, and gosh, she was just so good, and she still is. So we can't wait to get her on campus, as we start the summer months here, and what a good start.
I should say, Mo started in North Carolina, went to Arizona State, now Bronco, and she scored 24 points a game in high school for Kalamazoo Central. She was only the top player in Division I and a finalist for Miss Basketball in the state of Michigan. Man, you can build a program around someone like that.
Yeah, you can. And you know what? There's going to be another person on our roster that was a finalist for Miss Basketball, and Olivia Flynn. So my recruiting philosophy has always been, in the state of Michigan, keep people who play in Michigan home. And, we're welcoming Mo back. We're happy to have Liv on our roster as an incoming freshman. And I just think when you can recruit that type of talent and keep them here, other players want that success, and they want to be a part of it.
Earlier today, you announced Kaylee Starks coming over from Detroit to join you here in Kalamazoo. Nice little spark plug point guard, huh?
Yeah, she's actually a wing for us, a 2-3. She will be an absolute fan favorite. I mean, not only is she electric on the floor, she plays hard, she dives on the floor. She just competes as hard as any player you'd ever want to coach, but off the floor, she's just top notch as well. It just really personable, loves talking to the crowd, often talking to herself while she's playing too, which is fun. But to me, she's she's the pace setter for us. She plays very, very hard, and that's the expectation that our program will always have of, this is where we're going to compete at. This is what you need to match, and Kylie is the perfect example of that.
How's the interaction been with the existing players that have been here as you get to know them, the ones that want to be a part of this?
No, it's been great. Everything that I've asked them to do, they've done it. And when I've asked them to make corrections, they've willingly, hopped on board with that. I think everybody's really anxious to get back together for summer session because, the timing of the hiring, I didn't get to get on the floor with them very much. But we've got 8 good pieces, and I'm very confident that the pieces we have, we can get to play the style of basketball that I want to play, and more importantly, we can defend how I want to defend. So I'm excited about the group. I know that they're excited too, and every time that we get a new person that's joining the roster, I'm getting messages about it, which is very rare because it's their territory, and you want to breed a competitive environment, and sometimes that's tricky. But I've gotten no pushback. These kids want to win, and I'm really happy that they're sticking around to do it with me.
Got a great fan base that loves women's basketball, but there's so much more there. This thing could really take off, especially with the new building coming on board here in a couple of years, and the new coaching staff led by Kate. This program. We could fill some arenas here.
Yeah, well, that's the plan. That's the plan. I'm just so excited to get out in the community and really engage, everyone in the area and challenge them to come out. This is such a good time for women's basketball, not only here in Kalamazoo, but on a national level. Women's basketball is great, and our product will be no different. Again, that's one of the reasons that the Mo signing is very important to us because people recognize her in this community, and I have no doubt that she'll be the first piece that really jumpstarts it for us here at Western.
For those who don't know Mo, what kind of game? What is her game? What does she like to do?
Well, someone asked me what position does she play, and I really think that Mo can play 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Mo would prefer to play, I think, just a 3. But Mo is 6'1", 6 foot, and she's a really dynamic guard. So she's got tight handles. She's really good at getting to the basket. She can elevate and score over at 15 feet, and she can knock down outside jump shots. So for us, as she's coming back off this injury, we need to figure out where she's going to fit the system the best. But the cool thing about Mo is she just wants to win. So if I'm like, hey Mo, today I need you to set some ball screens, pick and pop, or I need you to be the 5 and figure out how to guard this position, or guess what, our point guard's in foul trouble, can you bring the ball up the floor? I think as long as she's out there, she'll be happy.
That's outstanding. Well, have you put a schedule together yet? You got anything going that way you can talk about?
Very slim right now. We do return to Michigan State. We played them last season. I inherited a contract on my very first day. We're going to Indiana this year. So there are a couple home games that we've got coming back, but we need to fill a couple more. And so the plan is possibly to go on a tournament somewhere nice and warm. But I need to get some home games. I can't fill the arena if you're not playing at home, right? So we got to get some games scheduled.
Kate comes from a baseball family. How'd you end up playing basketball?
Well, I played baseball through my entire childhood. My dad was a baseball player. He played baseball at Bowling Green. And the first thing I learned how to do was throw. And so I played forever, and then when it got to high school and it was time to, quote unquote, specialize, I didn't do that. I tried to play softball, run track, play golf, and basketball, and the softball coach told me no. So otherwise, I probably would have been a college softball player. But basketball was in my blood. My grandfather, he taught basketball. He threw me in my very first basketball game when I was in 2nd grade, threw me with the 6th graders, and I was hooked. So. Baseball's awesome. I love it. I love it in the summertime. Sat through many a cold baseball sessions with my brother pitching as well, but happy we played an indoor sport.
Well, great. Kate, we're glad you're here, and we can't wait to get a season started. We don't want to wish summer away, but I'm excited about women's basketball and watching your teams and Mo Wiggins in particular wearing brown and gold for Western Michigan. Thanks for coming out. Welcome to Western Michigan, and hit them straight this summer if you ever get out on the golf course.
Give me a couple weeks.
I hear you're pretty good.
Yeah, a couple weeks, so we'll get to a driving range somewhere in here.
Kate Octor, women's basketball coach here at Western Michigan. We're going to wrap it up with Dan Bartholomew and put a bow on 24-25 season when we come back in our final Bronco Coaches Show after this timeout from Old Burdick's Stick around. We're coming right back.
It all started with a war hero and wounded warrior. Sealy began on Portage Road in Kalamazoo in 1963. A lot has happened since then, and a lot has changed. But at Sealy, the more things changed, the more they stay the same. Trust, customer service, and community.
I'm Lindsay Tarpley. Happy 60-year anniversary, Sealy Auto Group, from your friends and community partners at World Champion Soccer Academy. Go Broncos!
Attention Bronco fans. Looking for a direct way to show your support? Meet Roy, the mobile app that lets you back your favorite college athletes. If knowing exactly where your money is going matters to you, now's your chance to make a difference. With Roy, you choose which athlete receives your support, helping keep your favorite players on the team. Download the Roy app today and join us in shaping the future of your athletic program. Roy is a proud partner of WMU Athletics and the Broncos Will Reign Collective.
Get a fresh view in Kalamazoo. Wander museums, catch a show, and see a classic or two. Unwind, open up, try something new. Bike around, make a splash, and explore nature's hue. Hit the trails, grab a bite, then relax with a brew. Be curious, get loud. There's so much to do. Find all this and more in Kalamazoo.
Back for a final segment of the Bronco Coaches Show. We're at Old Burdick's at Wings West. We'll be back in the fall with more of these. These have been fun, kind of the brainchild of this guy, Dan Bartholomew. I enjoy doing these weekly shows.
Well, I'm glad, and let's start by thanking Old Burdick's, who's been a great partner. 2 different locations that we got to enjoy this year throughout the Bronco Coaches Show while they take on their construction project downtown. Great partners, great atmosphere. It's fun to be out here with the public from Kalamazoo. They're getting to enjoy the show, and they're getting to learn a little bit about Bronco athletics as well.
Yeah, put a plug in for Old Burdick's for tonight. If you're looking for a place to watch the draft and watch the Pistons beat the Knicks in the playoffs, they got TVs all over the place here, and great food, and you can watch it all at the same time.
Good wings, good burgers. I mean, how can you go wrong? And let's also give credit to our partners at Van Wagner. And I said this in my very first interview on this show at the beginning of the year, but when I sat down with Matt Aaron, our general manager from Van Wagner this year, I said, Matt, I want 2 things. I said, I want a truck and I want a coach's show. And he got both done.
He delivered.
How about that? So here we
delivered.
are at the Bronco Coaches Show. It's been a great year, hasn't it?
Oh my goodness. I mean, how do you top 23-24? I think you did. You won a natty.
I think that's the only way you could have topped it. And yeah, obviously a great year all around. We're still wrapping up spring sports. We're in finals week this week, so we'll find out how our student athletes did in the classroom. But let's go back to the fall. To begin with, you're coming off a record-breaking GPA year, right, with a 3.40, cumulative 3.43 in the spring. And in the fall, what do? We break the record for 4.0s with 96. And I tell people that what's interesting about that stat is if you come into our facilities, right, 96 4.0s, that means 1 out of every 4 student athletes you bump into got straight A's in the fall. So we're really excited to see how they improve upon that here in the spring. Those grades will be out next week. And then how much we prioritize community impact and community service. Obviously, we broke records the last 2 years in community service hours, led the MAC the last 2 years, looking like we're on track to do that again. We'll be over 7,000 hours, which will break another record for us. And then competitively, I mean, you said it. I mean, we've had so much success again this year. Our teams are doing great, complemented by a national championship. But timely, the updated Learfield Cup standings came out today. And that's something that we track very, very closely.
Yeah.
And not only have we surpassed our point total from last year, where we came in first in the MAC, we are still sitting in first place for that Learfield Cup. And we are not planning to give that trophy back at the end of the spring.
Well, in the fall, football won 6 games. They had it rolling there in October and ended up bowl eligible, played in a bowl game. The soccer's, soccer, we're going to win soccer regardless. Women won the regular season, the tournament, went to the NCAA tournament. Men were in another NCAA tournament.
Yeah, no, our soccer's did obviously had fantastic years. The men have really reached a point now where they're a national brand. They're an elite program. Didn't actually win their conference this year, which is uncommon. They won it the previous two. It was a tough Missouri Valley this year, but still got in as an at-large, which that speaks to where they've come at this point. Really a tough draw there. Won the first round. We got to host the first round. Lost in the second round to Ohio State, who was one in the country. But who ends up as the national champion? Vermont, who we beat.
Yeah.
Who we beat. So, we
Soccer could win a national
well,
championship.
we talk about that. I mean, I got a lot of, this is the one sport we could win a national championship in with hockey. And I appreciate what the hockey program has done. I don't think it's the only program we can win a national championship in. In fact, I don't think that the Sockers are too far behind. Men are probably a little bit ahead of the women. But hey, to your point, the women are coming off of an unprecedented, historic 2 straight seasons without a regular season loss in the MAC. They went toe-to-toe with a really good Michigan State team in the NCAA tournament, and they returned a really good roster with a lot of great new faces.
Volleyball had a tough act to follow after that incredible ride they had the previous season, but they came out and, to be quite frankly, struggled a little bit at the beginning of the season, but the GOAT got them going. And when it all started, she was on the Bronco Coaches show and then skyrocketed to the MAC Tournament Championship after being on our show.
It's the secret sauce, the Bronco Coaches show. Volleyball had to learn what it was like to be the hunted. And because that's what they were. They had such a dominant season 2 years ago, still returned some strong leadership, but filled in with some freshmen, right? I mean, you had some freshmen playing, starting for that team, and they had to learn what it was like to play for a championship program. Our returners had to remember how hard that was and the work that they had to put in. And fortunately, to your point, they got on the Bronco Coaches show. They talked to you, Robin Hook, and you told them this is how you do it. And that I will tell you, proud of all of our programs for sure. But to watch that team develop throughout the year, go to Bowling Green, who was the best team in the league all year, and traditionally the best program and volleyball program in the MAC, to go there and sweep through that tournament, win the tournament, and get to the NCAA again. A real testament to Colleen. And I'll tell you what, we're not going anywhere in volleyball. Really talented young group. She's going to fill in with a few transfers. Excited about next fall for sure.
Busy time for the basketballs. You hire Kate Achter. Broncos got to the MAC tournament. Both the men and the women went to Cleveland, and that was fun. And but there's steps to be made there, and they're working at that. And you bring Kate in to take over the women's program after Coach Clipfeld retired. And boy, what a great hire that was. Wow, enjoyed talking to her here.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we're really excited about Kate and really both basketball programs, to your point. Taking steps forward for sure. When you think about where those programs were 3 to 4 years ago, both teams going to Cleveland again, the men going back to Cleveland for the first time in a decade, that's a long time. And certainly those are some strides that we're proud of. But the arena's 2 years away. There's investments being made in those programs. It's time to take the step forward and, feel confident in what DJ's doing and the roster he's pulling together, and excited about the opportunity to start winning some games in Cleveland. I mean, that's really what we talked about. And then with Kate, of course, an opportunity to take over a strong foundation that Coach Clipfeld left. And you're seeing right away, she comes in, she hits the ground running. Mo Wiggins was a top 20 recruit out of high school now. I mean, that was a big deal for her to come home. And then obviously pulling an all-horizon freshman team member here with the signing today. And she's got another one up her sleeve that I think she'll be announcing here in a couple of days. And DJ as well. DJ's had a couple big signings here this week that I know we're just waiting on some paperwork to announce. So the future is bright in basketball. What we're doing is we're positioning those programs for success as we get into that arena. I believe Kalamazoo can be a basketball town, and we need to give them something to cheer for.
Spring teams are wrapping things up. Men's tennis right there in the hunt for another championship with Dave Marine, and they fell to Buffalo in the championship match. But how about Anton Arjankin, the MAC Player of the Year and the only Bronco to ever be first team all-conference in men's tennis 4 straight years.
Yeah, I mean, arguably we witnessed the best tennis player in our history, and that's a really rich history. So that says a lot about about Anton. Anton also competed in the individual championships in the fall. He was the first Bronco athlete to compete in that individual championship since 1977. Anton has had a fabulous career here. He won the Brown and Gold Pride Award, so his name will be on our wall outside of the administration offices forever, and well deserved. And yeah, 1 point away there against Buffalo. That was tough, but a much better league this year, right? You had Buffalo and UIC who were competing at a higher level than I'm used to seeing in the MAC. But Dave always has that team ready to go.
Had some gymnasts that went on individually in the NCAA tournament under Penny.
Yeah, we had the most gymnasts actually in the MAC. The MAC actually didn't qualify any teams this year for nationals. They qualify based off of an average score throughout the year. So even winning your conference title doesn't guarantee you a spot in the regionals. So there were no teams that went, but the Broncos led the league in individuals, and a group of very, very impressive seniors. Cassie St. Clair, Holly Faulkner, Sarah Moravansky. We're certainly proud of what they've done. But Penny and I actually sat down today and we had her end of season meeting, and I'm going to tell you what, we saw it this year. We had the freshman of the year in Ryland Garvey, right? That was a loaded freshman class. Penny's now starting to, we got a little transfer portal action happening here in gymnastics, and a really solid freshman class coming in next year. Penny's really excited about the future of the gymnastics program.
Baseball and softball still plugging away in the Mid-American Conference. Still some home games that Bronco fans can get to. The baseball team's been on the road here. They're on the road again, but they got some home games coming up against Central Michigan and Ohio. So get out there and watch the baseball and also softball.
Yeah, baseball and softball. They send 6 teams to the postseason. Obviously, we were able to qualify both last year for the first time in a long time. And both are holding on to those spots. There's a little grouping there. These games here coming up are really important. We got softball home this weekend against Kent State. And as you said here, following up in a week from now, we've got a nice streak of baseball home games. These games are really, really important. You know how it is. Once you get into that postseason tournament in that sport, you ride your pitchers, and if they're hot, you got an opportunity to win a championship like we did last year. Come check out baseball and softball.
Yeah, Bronco baseball is the MAC tournament champions, defending MAC tournament champions until they're not. And so they're trying to get back there to suburban Cleveland for that MAC tournament, and who knows. Well, I drove downtown. I haven't been down. I've been traveling a little bit with this hockey team, which we haven't talked about yet. We'll talk about them in a minute. But
yeah.
I went downtown. There's concrete in the ground at the site of the new Western Michigan Event Center.
Yeah, I had the opportunity. We did a check presentation on Friday, so I actually got to go to the site and stand on it. And I'll tell you what, you can't appreciate the magnitude and the scale of this project until you go stand on that site. It is impressive. And to your point, now what you can start to see is the concrete footings that are going into the ground that'll support the foundation. But now you can kind of see where Arcadia Creek is going to come through. They're building that channel. So really, for those of us who have been designing this building for 3 years, now you're starting to see it come to life. Really, really exciting. On track for a fall 27 opening. Heading into the fall, we'll start publicly releasing a bit more information about sales plans, interior renders, things that the public hasn't seen yet that we're still working on, and then of course, a ceremonial celebration to celebrate what is going to be frankly the most transformative moment in any of our lifetimes in the city of Kalamazoo and at Western Michigan, and a moment that's really going to secure our future as an elite athletic program in those sports moving forward. A lot to be excited about with that building.
And just continuing the celebration of this Western Michigan Hockey National Championship, and it just never ends. I mean, Coach Ferschweiler named the U.S. College Hockey Online Coach of the Year. I mean, that was a no-brainer. He owns every Coach of the Year award this season that's handed out. And what a great group of young men that represented Western Michigan so well. I got to spend a lot of time with those guys, and they're all very special young men, and a lot of them are coming back to build the foundation of the next Bronco hockey team next year.
Yeah, no question. I mean, what we know about Pat is he's got an eye for talent. He recruits well. You're obviously in this day and age in college athletics, there's always going to be some attrition and some movement. We're always, at this point, we're always going to be competing with the NHL for our athletes. But we know that Pat's always going to return a strong nucleus, a strong core. You saw that with the Tim Washy this year, right? And he's going to complement it with some new faces. And certainly it's been well publicized. I think they said he terrorized the transfer portal, is what I saw online.
Ranked number one among all the teams with transfer portal guys, got 4 absolute studs.
Yeah.
Western Michigan ranked number one in transfer portal signees.
Well, we've got a great coach. We've got a great culture on the team. We've got a great fan base. And when those recruits come on campus, Pat's able to show them the nicest facility, what will be the nicest facility in college hockey by a long shot. And so how could you not want to come to Western Michigan now, especially coming off of a national championship? This team, these are a special group of young men. Let's just talk about what's happened the last 2 weeks. Every signing, every appearance, everything they've been asked to do, they've done it. They're doing it during finals week. They've shown up, jerseys on, smile on their face, and even some of the things you don't see. We brought the trophy over to the Southwest Michigan First board meeting today, so that group could take pictures and enjoy the celebration. And one of the board members showed me a picture from 2 days ago of Grant and Hampton, who had gone and visited with a patient at Bronson, a young fan with leukemia, and just said, I mean, these are the kind of guys you have, and no one's talking about that. But this is in between final exams, having to appear on every show in America. They're finding time to give back to the community. What an amazing culture that Pat Firschweiler set on that team.
And just announced today that Hampton Slukinski is going to play for Team USA here in the coming weeks. It's a roster full of former college players now in the National Hockey League, and there's one college hockey player on the entire roster, and it's your goalie at Western Michigan, Hampton Slukinski.
Well deserved. Obviously that's a young man who's won now at every level, and has got a lot of winning left in him, and we're glad he's a Bronco for sure.
All right, I want to wrap it up here, but you got a new president, and I hear he likes hockey. He likes sports.
That has been very clear in my interactions with him. And yes, Russ Cavalluna was named our president-elect yesterday. And I'll just say this. I was fortunate to be able to meet with some of the candidates during breakfast throughout the search process. And they were all fantastic. Our search committee did a great job. There was one candidate, and you know how I like to lead, so you'll appreciate this. There was one candidate who, when they were done, I went into my car and I called my wife and I said, Lauren, I'm about to run through a brick wall. That's how inspiring that this guy was. An inspirational leader, somebody who's served as a pilot, federal prosecutor, and obviously most recently a college president. He's an alum. I think that's important. He's sat in our classrooms. He's led in all different aspects of his life. And frankly, I think he's somebody that's going to really be able to unite this community around so many great things that are happening at Western. And I had a chance to spend some time with him today. And to your point, asked great questions about athletics, asked the right questions about athletics, and certainly wants to see us succeed and wants to be a partner in that. And that's all you can ask for.
Well, he grew up in Kalamazoo, and what I read, one of his earliest memories was going to Lawson Arena and watching Bronco hockey games with his dad.
Well, that's the power of intercollegiate athletics, right? I mean, let's think about what happened here 10 days ago. There is no vehicle at the university, and that's not to say that we're the most important room in the house. We're not. We are the most visible, and so there is no vehicle at the university that plops you into 1 million households, right? That has the national reach of intercollegiate athletics. And just to see the pride and inspiration that our hockey team gave this community, there's some future Russ Cavallunas out there, right, who were inspired by Bronco hockey and now want to go be a student. I mean, they might not be a student athlete, but they want to come to Western Michigan and be a student, and then they want to go do great things in the world, and they'll be united by their memories of intercollegiate athletics at Western Michigan. And that's why what we do is really important.
All right, how are we going to get 5,000 people in the Lawson Arena for Bronco hockey next year?
Well, we got 15,000 in St. Louis, Robin. So I might have to whittle down the list, my friend. We're going to figure out a way, Elaine Russell. Yeah, that place seats 3,000. So let me just say this:
That ain't big enough.
We will try. We will try to get as many people in there as we can, but I would highly recommend you put a deposit down on season tickets, and we might have to, similar to what we did in St. Louis, we might have to assign a system to be able to select season tickets, and that, of course, will be through donor ranking, just like everybody else does in Division I who competes at this level. So we want you at Lawson Arena for sure. Sign up, become a member of the Bronco Athletic Fund, and we'll see you there.
And football is just around the corner. You got a great home schedule, Dan. You guys put together a tremendous home schedule, and encourage fans to get online right now and get set up with season tickets for football.
Yeah, football is going to be really fun. Lance said at a six game home schedule. We haven't had one of those in a while. We've got 5 Saturday home games. One of them is Central Michigan. We've got North Texas, who's an elite group of 5 program coming in, and it's going to be great competition for us. We've seen some great increases in football year over year. We saw a 52% increase in student attendance. Our students are bought in. They're having fun. We're doing some things to try to make the experience more fun for them. We know when the students are having fun, the fans are having fun, and as you heard from Lance Taylor today on the show, he's got a really exciting roster and group of coaches that are going to make some noise in the Mid-American Conference.
Dan, thanks for putting a bow on 24-25. We're going to 25-26. Wow.
Keep them coming. Let's go.
Can't wait. Thanks for coming out. Have a fun summer. Get it ready to go for the fall, all right?
Let's go. Thanks, Robin.
Dan Bartholomew, Athletic Director at Western Michigan. Special thanks to our crew from Bronco Productions who helped put these shows on for you. You can watch it live on YouTube Live or watch it anytime on demand at WMUBroncos.com. Thanks to Elaine Russell, who keeps things rolling at Western Michigan, and everybody here at Old Burdick's Bar and Grill at Wings West. We'll be back here next fall to start a new series of shows promoting our Bronco programs and our coaching staff. Thanks for watching. I'm Robin Hooks. See you in the fall. So long, everybody.